There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy a favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
You know, when you're thinking about high-end car audio, often I sit back and kind of reflect on those brands and those pivotal, game-changing products that really sculpted the whole car audio high-end scene. And Diamond Audio comes to mind more often than not. They've got a whole new refreshed offering with amplifiers and DSP, speakers, and of course subs. And we're going to talk about it all on today's show. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM, Diamond Audio. And it starts now. What's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and as we round out our entire month-long adventure, really, through this audiophile category, we have come to a brand that means so much to so many, and that is, of course, Diamond Audio. Now, rich history, of course. You remember the Hex. I mean, who doesn't, especially if you're in and around those competition rings? But Diamond has evolved so much. We did get a chance to sit down with Diamond a couple weeks back, or maybe months back now, during our DSP sessions as they launched an entire slew of brand new DSP product. Well, today we're circling back and we're going to focus in on a couple key high-end elements that they want to remind you as dealers that, oh yes, they are definitely still in the game when it comes to high-end car audio. But first, let's reach out to their distribution partner in Canada, our good friends at Dix Performance and their 12-volt category leader. Let's go to Mr. Dave McLean. What's going on, Dave?
Not too much, Ben. How are you today?
Oh, as usual, you do not disappoint. You come to the table with a spread of really interesting product. I mean, I know you're excited about Diamond. How cool is it that we get to talk about the upper tier of the offering today?
Super cool. This is a segment we don't get to talk about too much in front of people because it's usually a one specific customer we get to talk to every couple months. But it's an amazing lineup of audiophile featured product, and I'm just happy to finally get to talk about it on CMA.
Well, definitely, we're going to dive deep. As you know, this month has all been dedicated to high-end stuff. So, you know, from a distribution standpoint, Dave, I guess the question I have is how important is it for you to be able to offer your customers a brand that does cover and check off so many boxes, and more importantly, this box here, which is called high-end audiophile grade gear?
It's of the utmost importance to be able to offer a line that has top to bottom offerings. This is a category that really is what guys want to get into, but they settle for the other stuff. There's no bad offerings across the board here, from entry level to top of the line. It's all meant to wow, and Diamond does that. They inject their culture and their sound into everything they do, including the entry level products. And we couldn't be prouder to get to talk about the top end products for once. It's a category that doesn't get as much notoriety or as much appreciation as it probably should. And I'm just excited for Bryan to talk about all the things they're doing differently now. And they're really thinking about the installer when they design their product and giving us packaged products, which I'm really excited to hear about.
If anything I've learned in these last few sessions and these last few weeks, I mean, there's a certain momentum. It's undeniable. You know, last time we had Bryan and Ryan on, for that matter, I mean, it was just like I was getting barraged with new product. I couldn't get away from it. It was one thing after the next. What, another DSP? Oh my God, what another? It was quite intense. This is a nice way of rounding out how those amplifiers can really complete a system with the speakers and the subwoofers that we'll be talking about today. All right, let's go ahead and connect with our specialist today. He is the training technical support specialist for Diamond Audio. Let's please welcome Mr. Bryan Piper. How's it going, Bryan?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Doing fantastic today. Pumped as usual because we get to talk about gear and kind of be nerdy and geeky about it. I think I found the right guy that's going to help us with that. Am I right?
I think so.
Bryan, I wasn't kidding, man. Last time it was a barrage of new product. It was just like one thing after the next. This time I plan on having a little bit more detailed conversation about a very specific higher end offering in your catalog.
Right.
And so let's hear it from you. Like, what do you think? Audiophile and Diamond Audio.
So, with Diamond Audio, that's the lineage of Diamond Audio. That's where we started with Diamond Audio, was to do high-end audio. I go back to the original D-series amplifiers that came from Esoteric Audio, and then we fixed them and kind of made them better. And then you get into, later in the years when the Hex series came out, and then you get into the D6 and D9 series gear and stuff like that. And it's all just been performance and exceptional sound quality. I don't know how else to define it. It just works, and it does everything we want it to. So we are able to give our customers and the dealers that sell our product, it gives them the ability to give something that not everybody's looking for, and present a product that will perform at a price point that not everybody is familiar with.
I will say this: if there's anything about Diamond that I've learned, it's a brand that certainly has no qualms about innovating, and certainly does not color within the lines very often. They'll go and do something freakishly extraordinarily, out of the park, just because they want to prove a point. And I think that's one of the things that people really are drawn to when it comes to a brand like Diamond. You're going to get the consistency. It's got the lineage, but also that wild card of, sometimes we don't give a, we're just going to do it.
Yeah. And that's something that we talk about a lot of times. Is it's not exactly what fits in a box that every other company is doing. So let's do something that works and will perform in a manner that we need it to for our customers and our dealers, and then build it and refine it to the point that it is the best it can be, and at an affordable price point that works for everyone.
Well, I think Dave is just as excited as I am. So why don't you break down for us, Bryan? What are we going to be learning from you today?
So we're going to talk about what's going on in the present, which is DSP, and then some speakers, and we're going to talk about some amplifiers that we're kind of testing right now. I got a cool one to show off. And we're going to talk about that stuff because DSP is the future, right? Everything is DSP and integrated parts and stuff like that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about some speakers that many people are not aware of that we have. And we want them to know about them because it's not new, but it's definitely something that customers should know about and dealers should know about, because this brings a whole new avenue for everyone. I
think I know which one you're talking about, but I'm going to reserve my comments for a little bit later.
Yeah,
all right, here's the plan, gentlemen. Dave and I, we're going to go away. We're going to set you up, Bryan, for your presentation so we can really tune into what you're saying. We're going to come back, and I know Dave's kind of anxious to do a little bit of show and tell himself, and I think that's going to be the plan of our program today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and set you up here, Bryan.
All right.
And away you go.
Okay, so let's get into this. Audiophile is what we're talking about. So what is an audiophile? An audiophile is a person who's enthusiastic about high fidelity sound reproduction. The way I describe an audiophile is it can be anyone. It's that connection to music that creates an emotional response. So when we look at product as Diamond Audio, our lineage and our history is a lot of audiophile products to create or help create that reconnection to those songs and that music that connects to everyone else. So who remembers this stuff? Let's talk about the lineage. We talked about D7. This was one of my favorite amplifiers back in the day. I worked for a shop and we installed tons of these things, and I absolutely fell in love with them. Big, bulky Class AB amplifiers, but man, they were impressive, and they were fun to put in cars and make those cars just sound exceptional. The Hex Series amplifier, or sorry, Hex Series components with the honeycomb cone for the mid bass driver, and just how well these things sounded and were sonically performers, which you guys will find that these actually still exist to some degree. They are limited, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And then you talk about like D6 woofers, and then the D9 woofer that we have here in the image. This was innovative for its day. What it did and what it can do now in its new evolution. These are just some of what we've mastered and perfected and evolved over the years. So today, DSP is a big deal, and what we have learned is DSP can be used anywhere. Motorsports and motorcycles are a big thing nowadays. We see lots of guys doing Harleys and side-by-sides and things like this. So we took it upon ourselves to develop a DSP that was geared specifically towards motorsports. So these are waterproof, sealed DSPs. The current availability is the 6-channel is out, the 8-channel is on its way. As you can see, high resolution, 10 to 25K frequency response, 15 or 31 band parametric, fully adjustable crossovers, adjustable time delay, will give you 6.5 volts max output. They do take high level and low level input, and they have built-in Bluetooth streaming. So if you're doing a vehicle where you don't have a source unit, or you don't want to add a source unit, like a Bluetooth module or something like that, you do it right from the DSP. Okay. Going forward from there, integrated components. We have new amplifiers on their way. I have one here that I'd actually like to show you guys. This is pretty cool. So this is our Micro 8U series. This is the 2-channel version. So what you can see here is you have the Bluetooth antenna for streaming. You have the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 inputs here. And then you have 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 outputs. So this is 6 input, 4 output, plus your 2-channel amplified output out of the amplifier here. So this is currently being tested. We've gone through them. They work. They sound phenomenal. They do everything we want them to do. A few adjustments we'll make, and we'll be ready to go with these. And we should see these hopefully really soon in the first quarter. So the other amplifiers that we're going to have, I have on the screen here, this is the evolution of the Hex amplifiers, our HX series. These will be up to 12 channels of output and have multiple inputs and outputs for DSP. Some of the other amplifiers will have like 8 channels in and 10 channels out and things like that. So it just kind of depends on which amplifier you go with. But the thing that we want to mention is that even our mono blocks will have full DSP output on them. So a mono block has 6 or 8 channels in and 6 channels out, plus your subwoofer output. So if you are, somebody's upgrading their stereo system and has a 4-channel amp already, or they want to do a mono block and a 4-channel, they can do one amplifier with a DSP, even the mono block, and then a amplifier that is non-DSP to run everything outside of the subwoofer. Dual processor chips in these, high res. The processor chips run at 32-bit, 239 megahertz. So they are high-speed dual processing chips. Bluetooth built into all of these amplifiers as well. We will have a digital remote control available for them so that you have control up front for, programming channels and switching between your DSP channels or presets, sorry. and subwoofer and master volume control and stuff like that. The other thing that's really good about these amplifiers is that they are fully bridgeable. So you can take a 12-channel amplifier, turn it into a 6-channel amp that bridged with high power. Just to give you an idea, the amp that I have here on the screen, the 12-channel, is 160 by 12. Or no, sorry, it's 100 watts per channel by 12 channels, and then we have like an 8-channel that will be 160 by 8. Things like that. So they're high power, but then you bridge them, you even get more power out of them. So very, very cool amplifiers. On the Micro 8U series, the great thing to know on these and like our HXMs is the size doesn't really change. It's millimeters of difference. So they're the same size as they were already. So when you're doing motorcycle applications or small compact space, you're not adding or having to deal with any more fitment issues. So then we're going to talk about what's coming down the road is Pro Series DSPs. These are in-car digital signal processors, 8-channel in, 8-channel out, up to 12-channel in and 12-channel out. Similar features as to what's in the amplifiers. But for those of you that run amplifiers without DSP, or if you want to run like our traditional hex amplifiers or DES amplifiers that will still be around, then you can just add the DSP and get full function from your DSP. So what I'd like to kind of show you guys now is a screenshot of the software. And this is what it's going to look like. This is our 31 band. So this will be for the Pro Series and all of the amplifiers. It's a 31 band EQ that is parametric, so adjustable frequency, adjustable gain, and adjustable Q. The Q is adjustable from 0.5 to 10, so you can go very wide to very narrow. You have full function crossover. It's kind of hidden over here, it looks like. So there's a full function crossover in this area here that will give you Linkwitz Riley, Butterworth, band pass, low pass, high pass, however you need to set it up. And it is fully adjustable. So it's not preset numbers. You can pick whatever number you want to use. If you want to use a 63 hertz crossover point or a 4520 crossover point, whatever the case may be, it is there and it is available to you. Okay. In the top left, you have your time delay, which can be done in milliseconds, centimeters, or inches per channel, and then get everything adjusted that way. You have built-in Bluetooth streaming. So when you set this up, if you connect to Bluetooth, it will connect automatically every time. You have preset adjustments. You have up to 6 preset settings that are available in the processor. So multiple settings if you need them. You can link channels across the top, and you have the output control of balancing out channels here. You can also link your EQ and crossover points here. You can adjust phase on this at 0 to 180, and then you have a master volume. So all of these things that are going on in here, this is very standard, kind of useful. The cool thing about the processor is if you want to grab one of these, if you're using a touch screen, or if you just grab these little numbers here, you can grab it and drag it over. It'll adjust to whatever number you stop it at. Same thing with the crossover, high pass and low pass. You can grab them and drag them over and just drop it where you want it, and then you can fine tune it from there if you need to adjust the number. Okay, let's talk about some speakers. So speakers are usually have the biggest effect on replacing a stereo system. So one of the things that we'd been asked for a lot from not just motorcycle customers, but dealers in general, is we needed a really strong mid bass. So we came out with the new Neo series mid bass drivers. I happen to have the 8 here that I love to show off. This was a sample of one. These look very much just like the production models without some of the badging. But this is the Neo 8. These are the 2 ohm drivers. We have them in 4 ohm driver as well. They are currently available and shipping. 350 watts RMS power handling. They play 40 to 400 hertz. Sorry, I grabbed the wrong information there on my numbers. It says 40 to 250 kilohertz. That's wrong. These are 40 to 400 hertz frequency response. They are super sensitive for a mid-bass driver at 92 dB. US made voice coils perform phenomenally. I have a set of these in my Kia that I drive now. They are very, very, very impressive woofers. So then let's talk about three-way components, because these have become the standard for car audio nowadays. Most vehicles anymore have the application for them, or it's easy enough to do a drop-in 3 or 2.5 and a 6 in the door, 3 in the dash, and then your tweeters up on your A-pillars or your sail panels, whatever you want to do. So these are the speakers that some people are not aware that we have. We have our Hex Pro Diamante Italias. So these are some very, very impressive speakers. I actually have them here. So that is the 6. These are fully machined aluminum frames for all of the speakers. As you can see, all machined baskets and frames for everything. Okay. So completely one-piece units. Very rigid mid-bass drivers and mid-range cones. So you get snappy, accurate response without any muddiness to them. These will take about 180 watts RMS if you're using the built-in crossover, or not built-in crossover, but the included crossover. High-end speakers. These retail at like $3,000. So they are not anything to play around with. They are serious. We were serious when we designed these, and they perform like you would expect them to. I actually love playing with these in an active setup. Gives you some control from a DSP that just makes these things really come to life. On the Hex Diamante Italias, I actually run. Okay, up until a couple days ago, I was running the 6.5s in my front doors. A lot of guys at Knowledge Fest got to see these in Dallas and hear them. Very, very impressive speakers at a price range for three-way kits that is not uncommon. These we sell at about $1,300 retail. The great thing with these is that the mid-range is a 2.5. So it is an easy drop in. You just have to make the adapter plates to put them into, a Toyota or Ford or Chevy or whatever. My Kia took nothing to make that three-way fit in the dash. And then I fabricated some sail panels to put my tweeters in. The cone on these is very, very rigid. So it gives you a lot of mid-bass response. I was very surprised at what I was able to get out of them, even before I swapped over to my 8s. So now I have these as rear fill speakers, and they still work quite well. They play pretty high. But again, quality in design, quality in performance, and a response that I find very impressive from my years of experience in three-way kits. So then we have our DES, and this is what I would call the biggest bang for the buck that Diamond Audio offers. This is a three-way kit that retails for just over $500. They are a composite ABS frame, so it is still a rigid frame. You have the foam core composite cone, so it is lightweight, very efficient, but very musical. They sound really, really good. The 3-inch mid-range, I put these in a test set a while back, and I ran just the mid-range without a tweeter, and could probably have gotten away without ever adding the tweeter, other than I like to just have a little bit more on the top end. So these are really, really impressive speakers. Gives you a price point for your customer, or if you are the end customer, to put a three-way system into a vehicle that just will blow you away. Let's talk about the legend, the Hex. These are speakers that have been around for quite some time. The proprietary Kevlar Nomax Hex cone with that hex pattern in the cone gives it that is probably one of the most rigid drivers I've ever messed with. They are so snappy and perform so well for a non-conventional 6.5. These are a straight 6-inch woofer that just does things that a woofer that size probably really shouldn't have been capable of. Diamond Audio really hit the mark when we designed these years ago, and they were so good we just kind of kept bringing them back year after year after year after year, to the point that they still exist now. Then there's the evolution of the Hex series into our newer stuff. You have the H65C H65S and the H65A, which are the ones down here on the bottom left. They are an aluminum cone mid-bass driver. You have a aluminum or silk dome tweeter available. These are Klippel optimized. They handle about 180 watts RMS power. Very snappy mid-range response. They play nice and low. They will give you plenty of impact for your mid-bass. 12 dB per octave crossover slopes built into the crossover. I am a big fan of active with anything like this. So active on these, you can do quite a bit with them. They're very impressive. We also have the shallow mount series, which is a little different. They are a 1.3-inch deep 6-inch mid-bass driver, or sorry, 6.5-inch mid-bass driver. It has the same aluminum cone. These are only available in silk dome tweeters. For a shallow speaker, they perform very well. They don't play as low as a traditional 6.5-inch mid-bass, but they do quite well when you put these in spaces like in classic cars and things like that, where you don't want to chop up doors and you put them in kick panels, or you need something very shallow in a vehicle. Cannot tell you how impressive they get with what they are capable of doing. Let's drop the bass a little bit and talk about Hex technology and the Hex Pro drivers. This was the evolution of the old D9 stuff with the TDX technology. And so kind of give you an idea what this is it is a thermal cooling system. The way that this woofer is built is you have neodymium magnets inset into ferrite magnets to help with cooling and performance and power handling. So the way that this goes together is that motor structure all goes together and is inset into our basket. The basket is a cast aluminum frame with cooling vents on it. So all of what you see here on the screen with the little ridges all the way around, those are active cooling vents. There is air in between them. So when you look through it, you can see the motor structure, but it pulls the heat out of there, allows for higher power handling, better performance, and a longer, you can drive this thing harder, longer without risking damage to the woofer. Okay, so these also have a Hex composite cone, the cast frame with the radial cooling technology, and an extremely low FS, meaning that you can tune these very low. A 15, we have these in 12, 10, 12, and 15. The 15 has an FS of 22 hertz. The 12 has an FS of 23, and the 10 has an FS of 27. So if you want to put these in a vented enclosure and tune it really low, you can get tons and tons of output out of them at low frequency. The Hex series woofers, you get some of a trickle-down technology. You get the cast aluminum frame. You get a copper anodized radiating heat sink that's built into the motor structure. The fiber weave is a composite of several different fibers that we keep kind of under wraps, but it is a very stiff cone so that it gives you plenty of output without sacrificing performance. These, again, will play pretty low. They don't have the FS qualities that our HXP do, but they still have a very low FS and will play low and take good power for what they are. 3-inch 4-layer high temp voice coil on all 3 models, the 10, the 12, and the 15 that are available. They are Klippel optimized, as are all our speakers. DES is a great bang for your buck. It's, again, always with DES. The Diamond Elite series just kind of is that when you want really good performance, but you can't quite take those higher steps in your pocketbook, but you won't be disappointed in these DES woofers. Hard to explain how good they are. I've seen guys do these in applications that I just didn't expect them to do what they would do. Stamped basket as opposed to a cast aluminum basket, but very, very rigid cone, very great performance, power handling on par with, what you would expect from Diamond Audio at this price point. So these are easily, if you want to talk entry level into a audiophile driver, these are some of the best available. And then let's talk about space and compact woofers. These are always something that comes up for every manufacturer. We see this all over the industry nowadays. Cars are getting smaller. People are worried about weight or, traveling and wanting to keep everything going without eating up a ton of space in their vehicle. So these spare tire woofers that we designed, we've had other variations of them in the past. These are our new passive series, and I can tell you they do way more than you would probably expect them to do. Testing them in my car, in my son's car, when we were doing some beta testing on them, I was blown away by what this thing will do at 300 watts RMS. For somebody who's looking for that great bottom end fill with a little bit of punch and it just has that impact without being overbearing, these things are very, very impressive. Shallow and standard options. So shallow is going to be more for like your European or your German cars and Japanese cars. Shallow or standard mount will be more for like your American made cars and things like that. The entire frame, the entire outer basket is cast aluminum, so it's non-resonant. So when you put this in your spare tire, it's not going to make everything vibrate and shake. Okay. Dual 4-ohm voice coils, 300 watts RMS power handling. These things, they're just superior to what I have seen from other brands. Performance-wise, they will not let you down, and they will play quite low, up to 400 hertz. Sorry, up to 500 hertz, down to probably about 30 or 35 hertz with no problem. So that's it, guys. That's what I've got.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Piper.
You're welcome, sir.
Let's go ahead and put this away, and we will get back to a little bit of discussion here. So, again, I think you covered a lot of categories if you really think about it. You talked about amplifiers, you talked about DSP, you talked about, high frequency drivers, you talked about subwoofers, and you even throw in a little curveball and what I would consider a high-end hideaway option. How's that?
Kinda, yeah. Kinda.
And I don't know why I want to start there, but I do. I want to start with that one because I think that one's a really unique offering. There are those clients that don't mind spending the money for, higher end great stuff, but you know what? They can't sacrifice the trunk. I know a lot of people like this.
Right.
For whatever, a multitude of different reasons, and I'm not calling anybody out, but at the end of the day, you can't sacrifice your trunk, all right? That's all I got to say about that.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I don't want top grade stuff. Like yes. I hate what I don't like as a consumer and as a car audio buff is I hate compromise, right? If I've worked hard for my money, I'm going to spend it. I don't like compromise. I want to optimize my situation. That right
Exactly.
there gave me a glimmer of hope for my
Right.
for one of
Right.
my projects that I was thinking about. Dave, what did you think about that?
There's some great solutions to the I don't want to lose any trunk space. No problem.
Yeah.
We're not going to lose any trunk space today.
Yeah.
So by taking away those misnomers in the sales floor, where the assumption is sub box, you know, when a solution like that comes out, it takes us to another level. And the fact that Diamond did it means Diamond amplifiers, Diamond speakers are going in that car, because with a solution like that, we know that they're going to trust the experience of Diamond and the audiophile nature of their gear. That if they're building a subwoofer that does this well, I should grab the other stuff they sell that also equals its performance.
There's always something to be
Yes.
said about being tonally matched. I mean, that's a big selling
Yep.
point. I used to use that a lot in my sales pitches as well. Now, what are the drivers in those enclosures, Brian?
So those actually, it's surprising. They are listed under our DMD series, which is kind of our starter level, but they're not a starter level woofer. I would put them on par with our DES, you know, kind of right above DMD. Dave has one in his hand right there, the DES micro box, which if anybody's played with one of those, man, that thing is so impressive. So that is an 8-inch vented enclosure that I was telling Dave earlier. I have one sitting here on my test bench. I run it on one channel of a 4-channel amp, and these things get so low and play so loud on one channel of an amplifier that it shakes every wall in my house.
See, that right there is like one of those quick, 5-channel amp jobs or 6-channel
Yes.
amp jobs. You know what I mean? Front speakers, rear fill, throw that in the trunk, you're done. I wish we could do those all day long.
Yes.
I mean, I think every shop wishes they could do that all day long. But again, solutions. And,
Right.
this whole month, there's two sides of Audiophile. You have the uncompromising design, who cares? I don't care how much space you need type,
Yep.
stuff. Like, let's look at, like, you talked about that Italia stuff. Like that stuff
Yeah.
is uncompromised. They don't care how thick the
Right.
basket is.
Right.
They did whatever it took to get a certain result. That's one side. On the other side of that coin is top grade high-end gear for more realistic situations. And I feel like
100%.
there's a lot of that going on with the Diamond offering. Okay, so don't worry, Dave, we're going to go through your table. I just want to go through 2 or 3 questions that I had. So on the speaker line, I mean, I'll be honest with you, Brian, like I'm of that group, growing up 80s, 90s, Diamond was a big deal. Right?
Sure.
2000s, it was a big deal, So when I think of Diamond, I do think of speakers first. I'm not going to lie. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Okay? I just feel like speakers is the first thing that comes to mind. Okay. But now seeing the trajectory of the new, let's call it the new footprint of Diamond, this is a really big and complete offering. So those amplifiers, I think Diamond nailed it. I said it in our last show with DSP, and I'm going to get Dave to chime in on this now that he's had some time to process it since our last show. Multi-channel, DSP included, Bluetooth included, like form factor.
Yeah.
This is what I feel everybody will be asking for. Dave, confirm my thoughts.
Confirmed. Yes, 100% built-in DSP. We don't want a separate box. We don't want to have to try and integrate with cables. We want direct access. It's the best ability to be able to create good audio. We've seen it from competitors. More and more of these amps need to come out. And I'm glad that Diamond has had the foresight to do this now, before everyone else did.
I'm going to go on the record as somebody who's sat in a few of these product trainings in the last couple of years. I believe right now, as it stands, Diamond has the most expansive offering of multi-channel DSP amplifiers on the market today.
We're trying to kind of.
That's
be
not a
ahead of the
presumption.
curve.
I believe that is a
Yeah.
fact. And
Right.
I think that's there was a whole purpose behind this. Expedition of new product and planning, and obviously kudos to the entire team and whoever was involved in that. But Brian, I mean, this is where it's going.
This is where it's going, and we're not getting rid of any of the existing amplifiers at this point. Hex and DES, which is, if anybody's ever run DES, those are just really well built amplifiers. But there are those purists that want to keep their amplifiers and their processor separate, or they want a DES amplifier like what you're seeing right there, and be able to process it and get that performance. So, you know, we're still going to have these amplifiers available for some time. That's why we went ahead and designed the Pro Series DSPs as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I'm not arguing that there isn't a market for that. I'm just
Right.
saying that if I step back out of the forest and look at the trend, I feel that is kind of where the trend is going. That's all.
Yeah, integrated DSP definitely is the trend for the future.
And even for myself, I always like to kind of put myself in a consumer shoes. You know, it depends on the project or the vehicle I'm talking about. You know, if I'm talking about my daily vehicle where I truly do need the space because it doubles as my family shopping vehicle on the weekend, yeah, I'm probably want to tuck away a little small multi-channel, right? Easy door replacements and a small box that I could either, to your point, that enclosure like that goes in the wheel well, or a small one like the one that Dave has his hand on that I could remove if I know I have some major Costco shopping to do, right? Great. Now, if you're talking about my whip that I'm working on, that only comes out on nice days and it's in the garage and it's an ongoing project and I don't care, then hell yeah, give me 2 mono blocks and, you know, a 4-channel and two 4 channels, and I don't care how much space, and you know what I'm saying? Give me 2 15s and I don't care about the trunk. So I think that that's always going to be around. Let's be honest. It's kind of like what we strive to have at one point in our lives. But I do appreciate where that Diamond has recognized that the trend is going that direction. Therefore, helping distributors like Dave and his customers, the dealers, have more tools to put systems in the cars. Okay. Let's talk speakers real quick. Why don't you walk us through, Dave, what you got in front of you there?
Well, I have the best of the audiophile nature. So obviously we've got things like the 3-way. So this is DES, comes with a full crossover matrix, but you get a tweet, a 3-inch, a 6.5, and you get all of these wonderful adapter plates.
What are those?
So these allow us to mount dash speakers in a lot of different applications. So obviously our 4x6, we have our BMW, and we have our 4-inch. So it adapts that 3-inch. Now, Brian hadn't alluded to it, but there is a couple changes coming. So 3-inch is really not the play anymore. It's 2.5. And we've heard that the 2.5 will be coming. So
nice.
Great advancement from Diamond there. This is the start. This is where most guys start for a 3-way set. Really easy to go active with this system as you grow, but nothing wrong with their matrix. They have a great crossover matrix for those 2-channel guys that trust the audio designers at the manufacturer, and they absolutely do a great job there. Brian had the 8-inch version of this, but that's the MS65 Neo. That is by far and away one of the best releases Diamonds has released in a long time.
It's funny that when I first saw this unit, I believe we had Brian on it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brian. It was during a motorcycle presentation.
Yes, absolutely. That's correct. Yeah, those are our motorcycle mid-range, top-end mid-range performers right there. It's a solid.
These are not just getting used in motorcycles anymore. We're starting to see guys with cars go, my bike's awesome. How about my car? Can I have the same ones? Absolutely. Yeah. So we're building 3-way kits out of these speakers.
Okay.
So that's just a big piece of being an active system. And what we do is Diamond offers their tweeter kits across all of their different lines. So you can add in a single tweeter. You can add in the 3-inch. You know, there's lots of things going on. So we can add these to this.
Are those available a la carte, Brian? Are those available a la carte, the different components?
The 3s and the tweeters are available a la carte, and I believe the 2s will be available a la carte once we finally release them.
And obviously the 8s and the 6 in the Pro line are a la carte.
In the Neo line, yes, they are. They are a la carte as well.
Okay. Keep it going.
So, and then to his presentation, the H65A and S, definitely our top selling audiophile speaker. Great matrix as well.
What is that?
Gorgeous piece. That is the matrix, and it is the size of an amplifier.
Holy cow! Looks like an amp.
It does, and it is built very well. So we never see these come back under warranty. We also had a lot of questions from our consumers on the silk or aluminum. You know what? It's a hard toss-up, but a lot of guys are like, "Ooh, aluminum, no, they'll be tinny." That's actually something that I wanted to allude to during Brian's presentation, is that the aluminum tweeters are dampened. So they are not tinny. They are really bright and very clear, and they have their place. If you've got a lot of reflective material and those tweeters are going to go up in the dash, I definitely recommend the silk. But if you're in an older vehicle and the tweeters are facing you and you've done a nice sail panel, the aluminums outperform the silk, I believe. So, you know, it's a little bit of a personal taste, but that is not an aluminum, a normal aluminum tweeter. It is advanced. A lot of people are scared off by the aluminum, and there's no reason to be. They are absolutely taken care of there.
Brian, you're going to like me now. Now I'm going to dig deep into you here. Dave just opened a can of worms.
Oh, the can of worms on aluminum.
Two separate types of material for the tweeter.
Yes.
Both dome tweeters, one aluminum, one silk. Which one plays lower, and which one has a better off-axis performance?
So the silk dome is a smoother response. So it's got that more muted kind of, it's got that warmth to it. The aluminum is brighter. The aluminum has the capability to play a little bit lower because it is more rigid. But it is a brighter, kind of more in-your-face tweeter. It's not harsh. Like Dave says, it's not harsh. It's not crazy bright, but it is bright. So it has a little bit different sound to it. I will go along with Dave and say, with the aluminum cone that the mid-range has on those, I prefer the silk dome tweeter because you get such a bright snap out of that aluminum cone that the silk dome tweeter just kind of balances it out on the top end.
I'd love to see the difference of on-off axis kind of response on that. Normally, when the lower the tweeter plays, it has a better off-axis performance, but it's not always true. I guess it depends.
It just really kind of depends on the environment. We're talking cars, and every single car is
for the record, the worst environment to build a high-end sound system in. But hey, we know this already.
Right. We knew that going in.
We knew that going in. Yeah.
That's probably something that we could look at doing some tests with that I could show down the road. Maybe we'll pull something together and see what we can do.
The only reason I'm geeking out on that is because, our installers, our dealers, again, those two customers, you got that one customer's like, no, I want the perfect soundstage. I want to see the pods. I want them faced perfectly to my ear. You know what I mean? I'll pay for the fab. Then you got the other guys. No, I don't even want my wife to know I changed these speakers. No, put them back in factory locations.
Right.
So again, two different scenarios. So that's why I asked the question: is there one preference over the other when it comes to the tweeter performance? Now, Dave, I'm going to throw it back to you because we didn't get into the low end stuff yet.
For sure. So we did show this off just a little bit ago. This is the 8-inch DES prefab box. It comes in dual as well as the single. This is a dark horse. This is one that a lot of people are unimpressed by the size of the woofer and the box. And then you put this in their vehicle and they are surprised at the output. This is an absolute powerhouse for an 8-inch. The dual is very heavy-handed in its dynamic range. Very, very low bass response. Wait.
Sorry, I want to stop you. Did you say dual as in there's one that has two drivers?
Two drivers. You got it.
So that's more interesting.
Like everything Diamond, there's some engineering inside this box because there's no way that woofer weighs 35 pounds.
Yeah.
So there is some serious things going inside this box. We've opened one of these and actually took a cross-section out of it to see what they've done. And someone was paying attention to the audiophile nature of a woofer. They really designed these boxes well. And because the woofer is in a prefab box that is meant for the woofer, it outperforms. And it's just another thing that shows you that building the right box for the subwoofer makes all the difference in the world instead of just using prefabs. So Audiophile is not about prefab drop-ins. It's about building things the right way. And this is definitely an Audiophile sub box.
Very cool. Very cool.
Another woofer we sell a ton of, DES 10s and 12s. Dual 2, dual 4s, 10s, 12s, and 8s. As of right now, there's no grills for the 10s and 12s, but there is a grill for the 8. So for those really low profile situations where you're trying to hide something behind a seat or under a seat, the 8s go really well there. And then, of course, the 10s and 12s fit everywhere you can fit a 10 and a 12. Really outperform what their numbers are. I can't stress that enough. They say a number and they say a response range. They outperform that every day. We know this because we absolutely abuse the hell out of these, and they don't come back. We see these go out and they stay out, and people enjoy them for a long period of time. So it's a great investment, good step up from DMD, and they fit a lot of the space where a normal woofer wouldn't. So they've got a really good mounting depth to fit in a lot of applications where we normally wouldn't fit a full-size woofer. We'd have to go shallow. So these get used a lot under seats in Dodge Rams, a lot of under seat in F-150s. So that's a great woofer and an outperformer for sure for a full-size woofer.
All right. Well,
Can I throw something in there real quick for you, Dave?
Please go
I
ahead.
want to make Dave happy. About a month ago, I just approved grills for those woofers.
Awesome.
Bingo.
I absolutely appreciate that. Yeah.
Look at that.
Because that subwoofer fits in places it shouldn't,
Right.
The grills become more and more important for sure, because we put them in very tight spaces in very small boxes, and they do an unbelievable job of filling in those spots. And to that point, you know, the small space requirement of so many things we do.
Let's take a look at that there.
That's the 6-channel. So like, just to put it against a 3-inch speaker, you know, that's a full.
Is it me or is that crossover double that size?
Pretty much, yeah. Let's see. So we talk about space requirements, right? So you can put this in, or you can just ditch it and just put this in and do an active system with full control. So this is making a lot more sense. The DSPs were a little bit too big for a lot of the applications we're dealing with, and trying to find, you know, those perfect mounting situations.
Wait, to be clear, so our dealers understand. Hold that up again, Dave. Brian, explain to me what exactly is that unit?
That is the MS-DSP 66. So that was you know, intentionally designed for motorsports. So they're waterproof, they're sealed. So it's designed for, you know, applications where water or mud or something might be a factor, but that can work in anything. We have one that is in a vehicle in a car that will be at at SEMA next week. So
is that DSP only or DSP amp?
That is DSP only.
Okay, fair enough. That's what I want to clarify.
That is DSP only. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we could build an amplifier that would.
Oh, you say that now, but I don't know.
Not yet. I mean, you know, let's look at technology and be real about it. I mean, look at the D7 amp I showed from, you know, that was 1994, 95 when those came around, right? They were huge.
Yeah.
And now I've got this.
I know.
Right?
That's the whole thing.
So you've got to look at what the capabilities of technology are versus what. Yeah, so in another 4 or 5 years, we might have amplifiers that big with 10 channels of output.
Maybe you'll have to roll them out because they're paper thin. Who knows?
Right? Yeah. Hey,
just saying. You never know. You never know. All right. Last thing on this discussion. I want to have a little bit of fun. Dave, you're building a car, or you're building your own whip. What are you putting in it, audio wise?
Hex, 100% hex. It is the most accessible audiophile level that we have, for sure. It's an outperformer. It does such a great job at what it was designed to do. It's got looks and features that we're not used to seeing in the price point. So all the covers are magnetic. You know, we've got full access to all of our plates, all via magnet, so we can easily adjust things. It's hard not to notice diamond amplifiers when they're installed. They stand out. So they're a little bit of a trunk opener. You like to show this product off. You don't try to hide it, which is really important with Audiophile, because a lot of it is showmanship too. So we're always showing off how we're doing those installs, those clean wire installs. We're not hiding these amplifiers. We're showing these off. They're getting plated in. They're getting plexi. They're getting lights. They're getting that next level of install. So we want to make sure the gear stands up to that quality standard. And like, hex is great. This is my go-to. But all of the features that we saw here flow down as well. So when we go to DES, we get the same aluminum covers, all extruded aluminum. Honestly, beautiful amplifiers. These are not amplifiers you want to hide. All the controls are on the top surfaces. These are designed by guys that understand where we have to do things. Nothing worse than an end plate or a top plate mountable control that you can't access once it's hidden in a box. So great little panels that come off. This style of amplifier is just something Diamond's known for now, where everything is integrated into these beautiful panels and hidden and snapped in. No tools needed to take the covers off to get these access to the controls. And even in the Hex series, they hide all the little mounting holes. So like DES has it extruded on the outside, they actually give another panel to hide the screw mounting holes on the top of the amp. So very super clean.
It's like some installers had some type of input on design or something. Imagine
You would
that.
think.
Imagine
You
that.
think-
So
yeah,
so
maybe we
just
thought-
to be,
had a thought process.
maybe. So just to be clear, Dave, you're hex top to bottom,
I'm a
speaker
hex guy.
subs,
Yep.
amp, all of it. All right. DSP, no DSP?
Always DSP.
Always
There's
DSP.
no wrong answer
Yes,
for
sir.
DSP.
How about you, Brian, real quick? You have a new
Okay.
car. Never mind your Kia. Brand new car. What are you putting in?
Okay, brand new car. I'm actually funny thing is I'm actually working on a 94 Honda Prelude that is my little project car. Believe it or not, because my Kia already has the best, I'm actually going to go DES through the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Through the whole thing, because I want to showcase
Like
what
wait, like
that's
over the
capable
top,
of.
overpowered DS, or like reasonable?
Reasonable, yeah.
Mhm.
I'll run it full active, obviously with a DSP, but it's going to be a reasonable build. It's there'll be a 3-way active kit up front, a little different because I will have a center channel in it, but I want to show what DES is really capable of versus the highest end gear we've got. I could easily take these and put these into the doors and put threes and tweeters up in my dash where I have spots already built for them. But let's do something that is a departure from that standard. But if I just bought another car, like my daily driver kind of thing, I honestly would probably go the hex speakers all day long, hex woofers, amplifiers. I honestly would probably sit and wait for our HXM DSP amplifiers. I didn't mention those, but there's gonna. So we have 3 lines.
Absolutely, we did cover it in our DSP episode for sure.
We did cover it in
Yeah.
DSP, but today we didn't mention them because they're not here yet. But we will have 3 lines of integrated amplifiers with DSP, and HXM is the other version of that. So because I would want compact space, but I want high power. So that would probably be the route I would go there.
Can I try? Here's what I would do.
Sure.
HXM amplifier, DSP, multi-channel for my front stage, 3-way. But what are those crazy, ridiculous subs that you showed before? That looks like a turbojet engine. Yes.
The Hex Pros. Yep.
I would get a mono or two mono amps, either 1 or 2, depending on the configuration of the voice coils. 2 of those in 10s, and that's what I would rock.
Okay.
That's me.
All right.
Yeah, I would go with the old school mono, for the sub power, but have that processed, multi-channel setup on the new amps for the 3-way fronts. That's what I would do.
Well, I don't know if I've told you before. I run the Hex Pro 15 in the trunk of my Kia. So 115.
That's a serious woofer.
Yeah, that is a serious woofer. And it was funny because a great little story. When you go, I took the car to Knowledge Fest in Dallas, and we were doing demos with it. And guys would see there's a 15. Like, why a 15? And you play certain songs where a 15 just does something that other woofers can't do.
Yeah,
and
I'm scared of 15s.
And when they ask why, and when they, but these guys go, why a 15? And then this note drops, and the whole car kind of shakes and vibrates. And you go, that's why.
I personally have a fear of 15s. I don't know what it is. It's like a phobia. I've been in cars with it. I was like, holy cow, it's scary sometimes how deep, like down low it gets. But anyhow, Brian, this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming today, talking audiophile with us, covering so many different categories. Always love having you, brother. We'll talk. We'll talk to you in the next
I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks for showing off some great product for us, Dave. And we'll look forward to the next one.
For sure.
Sounds good. All right. So, Dave, real quick, what do we want people to know? I mean, first, let me give people the digits, right? If you want information on Diamond audio products, you want to check out their website, ever evolving. But Diamond's pretty good with putting up the new stuff, like just so you get a taste of what it looks like, feels like, specs, and that type of stuff. So that'd be diamondaudio.com. And of course, if you're in Canada, well, you're going to have to call Dick's Performance because they are the exclusive Canadian distributor of Diamond Audio in Canada. Real quick, Dave, final message that you want dealers tuning in who may have piqued their interest to get some Diamond Audio gear in their shop. What would you have to say to them?
Diamond Audio is not just about their lineage. They're about the future, right? So they're driving this market of DSP amplifiers, and they're really paying attention to what we're doing in the car. I don't think there's a lot of this happening in the industry right now. A lot of it was just product procurement and making sure that the base was there. Diamond did the complete opposite during these last few years, and they keep pushing further and further ahead. And we are excited to see this stuff drop. And I really hope everyone that tunes into these CMAs is also excited for Diamond Audio to be having such a growth opportunity in these segments, and that they can see that there is a full line of Diamond Audio that we've presented over the years with CMA, everything from DMD all the way up to Hex Pro and even the Italia stuff. There is a full offering here that a lot of people were unaware of. Everyone thinks speakers when you say Diamond. Let's change that. This is a full audio line with things that match very well with each other, that are designed to fit with each other, and everything is available in Canada. There's no limits.
I'm gonna lie. I think now is the best time ever to get on with this. I think now is the perfect time because they're just about to break out all relevant product that's gonna really make you look like a superstar in your area. You just gotta get in your store. That's it.
100%. Yeah.
Dave, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much for coming in, and of course,
Ben, thanks for having
the
us.
effort for the
Absolutely.
setup, man. I'll talk to you soon
Absolutely.
enough. Take care.
Sounds good.
All right, so that was Bryan Piper from Diamond Audio, as well as Dave McLean representing Dick's Performance. And I want to thank both those guys for coming in, talking to us about all the latest Diamond Audio stuff. Now, not too much time left, but we are making the draw soon, guys. So if you haven't already, head over to cmanetworks.com/giveaway. We are giving away 2 all-inclusive trips to MasterTech Expo in 2023. It's totally free to sign up. cmanetworks.com/giveaway. And while you're there, obviously check out many more videos that we have on file. We've done some other ones with Bryan. He's got his own profile on there, as well as Dave McLean and Dick's Performance as well. The cmanetworks.com website, it's literally where the 12-volt industry connects. That's it for this CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, that's how
Stop it.
Today I'm gonna go
Yo,
topless.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?